One part of the religion of white supremacy is to sacrifice certain people and sacrifice their lives for the sake of your religion, to show your dominance in your religion. And this is what the white supremacists, they do with melanoid people all around the world.
We are this beast that they are afraid of, and they have to destroy in order to protect themselves, protect their women, by extension protect their country. So the more white folk in America become a minority, the more afraid they're going to be, the more reactionary they're going to be, and the more they're going to see a need to circle the cultural wagons and take us out. This is their last stance. And to be perfectly honest with you, if you really understand the essence of white supremacy, they have to do that. In their minds, they have to do that, because to submit is to die. So they are like a caged animal or an animal that's been trapped in a corner. They're going to do everything within their power to survive. And if we understand that and understand this is the mentality that we're dealing with, then our reaction has to be a different reaction. You know, we can't react to everything that they do if we understand their mindset. We have to know how not to provoke them, but there are other things that we could be doing and should be doing in order to maximize our presence, right? And take back our power so that we neutralize them just by our very presence.
In order to maintain a system of supremacy, you have to also maintain that people stay in a position. And if they get too far ahead or make too many forward advances, there's a fear that we're going to lose control. I've even had people say to me, well, if we give, in quotes, black people everything they're asking for, then we will be out of control.
During the Jim Crow era, and this just goes to show how sick the white supremacists are, because black people, we don't understand that they will harm our children just like they'll harm us. And they would have something called the Battle Royale, where they would go get black children who were in an economically deprived situation that was created by the white supremacists, because remember, they create economic deprivation. So they get these people who are economically deprived, and then they offer them scraps in order to entertain themselves. So they would get these black children and take them to these boxing matches that you had a lot of white supremacists watching and paying to see, and watch these kids beat each other up.
Where they blindfold young black males, and it could be any amount of them from 3, 4 to 5 to 10, and they're put in a ring or a circle, and they have to fight until the last man standing. So they just beat each other nearly to death, hoping to get whatever little rewards or favor that will come at the end of the day with who was left standing. And that was called the Battle Royal. Jack Johnson came out of that process of the Battle Royal. Our great black heavyweight, first black heavyweight champion of the world, came out of that process down in Galveston, Texas, where he grew up. And that was all through the South as an entertainment mode for white folks to watch black young kids beat themselves into a frenzy while blindfolded, with the hope that they won't get hurt at the end of the day, killed at the end of the day, or might get some pittance of a reward that they could take home and help their families.
When we look at circus clowns, especially the hobo clown, the sad-faced clown with the ripped-up clothes, that came from the white supremacists making fun of black people. At around 1874, there were these two white men who were minstrel show artists, McIntyre and Heath. And in 1874, you remember this is directly after the Civil War. When the Civil War was over, a lot of black people were homeless and destitute, and they would have to ride boxcars and trains all around the country looking for work, and they would wear tattered clothes, and they were just poor, begging, and just trying to do whatever they needed to do to survive. And living in a culture of white supremacy, the white supremacists looked at that and said, okay, that's something that we could make fun of. So these two white minstrel show entertainers, they started to dress up in tattered clothes and paint their faces black, and they had these big white exaggerated lips with a sad look on it, because black people were sad at that time after the Civil War because they were destitute. And they made a mockery of this and went around the world and went around the country doing these minstrel shows. And eventually that image went into the circuses, where circus clowns started to do that. And even to this day, you still have these circus clowns with the dark faces and the big white exaggerated lips and the tattered clothes and the holes in the shoes. And that hobo clown image that we see today in circuses all around the world is basically still mocking black people.
There's a pride that comes when you've trained the animal, the same way you train a big elephant. and you take him to the circus, and you make the elephant do little tricks, and because you control the elephant's mind since birth, you've intimidated the elephant to the point where he thinks that you're actually the superior one in this relationship, when really he could crush you with 1 foot. And that starts at a very early age. You start by shocking him every time he gets out of line. You reward him when he behaves properly. That's exactly what they do to young black men. They are training us like circus animals from a very early age, so that later on there is this pride in showing off the trained animal. Like, look at how high that nigga can jump. Look at how fast that nigga can run, right? But when the animal gets out of line, when the elephant decides he wants to kill the trainer, or he just starts to lose it for whatever reason, what do? They kill him. They take him out.
There's another game that the white supremacists used to play at carnivals called the African Dodger, where they would get a black person and have him stick his head in a hole, and they would throw baseballs at him and try to see who can hit him in the head. And this was entertainment to the white supremacists. Anything that will harm black people has always been entertainment to the white supremacists. This is why lynching was entertainment to the white supremacists. Even to this day, seeing black children get murdered in the streets by the white supremacists with impunity, that's entertainment. This is why these people who do it, they get paid, they get big donation money to harm black people.
Black people who are getting into, jihadism